A lot of interesting things happen in Genesis chapter 22. God asks Abraham to do something crazy, even crazier than circumcision. I'm going to spoil it for you guys. God asks Abraham to kill his own son. Time goes by, and Abraham, Sarah, and their miracle child Isaac, they're living happy, doing their own thing, when God decides to test Abraham's faith. God tells Abraham one day, take your son, Isaac, the one you waited for 25 years, and take him to this mountain called Moriah, and there sacrifice him for me. Easy. And quite literally, the next morning, Abraham takes Isaac, a couple servants, a donkey, and heads out. And this is where we see Abraham's true love, faith, and trust in God, because he decides to show this blind obedience in God. Okay? He decides to obey no matter how horrible or wrong it all sounds. Because he knew if God was asking this of him, there was a reason. And this is the part where I ask myself, how was Abraham okay with this? I mean, this was the child God had promised him. His wife Sarah wouldn't be able to have any more kids miraculously, again. And God had said that it would be through Isaac specifically that Abraham would have these numerous descendants. So how was he just fine with this? Well, in the New Testament, way later, in Hebrews 11:19, we get a little insight on what was going on in Abraham's mind. It says that he was willing to sacrifice Isaac because Abraham reasoned that if Isaac died, God was able to bring him back to life again. And this makes complete sense. Abraham was hinting all along that he knew God was going to do something about it. He wasn't going to let Isaac die. One example is when Abraham is going to go up the mountain. He tells his servants, okay guys, you guys stay here. Me and Isaac are going to go further up the mountain. And he says something very important. Abraham says, we will worship there and then we will come back. Highlight the phrase, we will come back. Abraham knew that one way or another, he would come back with his son Isaac. And then another example is when Abraham and Isaac are walking up the mountain. Isaac says, Dad, we have all the stuff, but where's the sheep? And Abraham responds saying, God will provide. And you can think, well, this was Abraham's way of tricking Isaac, not letting him know that he was the actual sacrifice. But in reality, I think Abraham knew that God would provide, that no matter what happened, God would be there for them. And they get up the mountain. Abraham ties up Isaac, puts him on the altar, and is about to slaughter his son when an angel comes and says, Abraham, don't do it. Just kidding. This was all a test. Don't lay a hand on your son. Chill out. Whew. That was a close one. And that day, Abraham didn't go through with the sacrifice, but in his heart he did. In his heart, Abraham had already given God his son. Abraham was saying, this is something God gave me. This is the miracle child God gave me. I have no problem giving him up to God. He was saying, God, you gave me this, it's yours. And God didn't want Isaac dead and burnt. He just wanted Abraham to show that there was nothing in this world he wouldn't give for God. Would you give your most valued possession for God? Would you blindly obey God's commands, even if it sounds a little weird? We should be like Abraham, who understood that there was nothing in this world more important than God, and that all we have comes from him and belongs to him.